this thing about raising up the feedback or confronting the issue, I personally don't know whether a lot of people would want to do that as a newcomer. You don't want to burn bridges that early on in your career. You don't want to be known as the complaint person.
Today's question was sent in by our listener, Amira. She recently made a career switch and joined the company in a senior role. Now, when she joined, she was partnered with somebody who has been in the company for a while. But after a while, she started realizing that this buddy was of no help to her, leaving her to figure out things on her own. Now, Amira says, later on, I learned that she has a reputation of being useless, quote unquote, and that my bosses were aware of this. I eventually told my manager that this was unfair and that no one should have to go through what I did. Amira wants to know, for those who may not have the confidence or privilege to voice their displeasure, how can they work around this issue?
For a newcomer to have to go through the first few days or weeks on the job with a buddy that doesn't not quite helpful, I think it's quite difficult.
Yeah.
I mean, you really want someone who can show you the ropes around to smoothen, that easing in process for you. So I do feel for Amira over there. And of course, if it's someone who is maybe not in a senior role, more of a junior role, then you get paired with someone like that, then what should you do, right? Firstly, this thing about raising up the feedback or confronting the issue, I personally don't know whether a lot of people would want to do that as a newcomer, because there are a lot of thoughts in their minds when it comes to confronting, especially as a newcomer. You feel like, okay, you're a new kid here, you're a new person here, people may not believe you. You also don't know, you don't want to burn bridges that early on in your career. You don't want to be known as the complaint person in the company and in your first few days or weeks in the business. So I think this really requires some thought, some tact as well in how to manage the situation. Maybe one of the things I would suggest, right, for a person who's going through this is to really consider whether there's a need to bring it up even.
Okay.
So for example, if the buddy is just or the person partner is just going to be with you for a short while, right, and then this person has very little effect on your work, on your performance, on the job, then maybe you might want to just let it go.
Okay.
Right? But then if, of course, this is a long relationship and there's direct impact to your work and this person is affecting you, then maybe you really want to think about the next thing. Is it worthwhile to talk to that person? Sometimes there are people who, when you speak to them, they will not listen. They hold bear grudges, they hold offense. So you have to really sense what kind of a person this person would be. Would this person be willing to listen to feedback? And also, maybe do you even have the relationship with the person to give that sort of feedback? You can imagine if today the roles are reversed, the senior person, the person who's in the other party, being longer in the company, might say, what do you know?
Like, who are you to question me? Who are you to point this out?
Yes, exactly. So I think these are some of the considerations that we should have when we are thinking of how to handle this with tact and with thought.
So we have given that scenario where dealing with that person. I personally also feel that, like you say, if you feel that this person is not the right person to deal with or to talk to because they may be, unresponsive, or they may be, they may not even be there for you to have that conversation, then I think another good place to try is to work with other colleagues. So other people in your team. So it may not be the person that you are partnered with. Other people in the team could also give you some, guiding hands first to help you on board, with your roles. But on the other hand, it's also, then you kind of build that opportunity over time to kind of ask them like, oh, is it normal for me to figure this out on my own? And then you get a sense of what's going on. Like, am I overthinking things, right? That this person is a bit useless to me. Maybe there's not much of like, handover that could be done. And maybe the other colleagues might actually feedback to you that, okay, yes, you're not crazy. This person is not the most helpful. And then they would perhaps come by and be your help along the way. So seek out other colleagues who can help you.
Yeah, I think when we are just entering a new job, it helps to not just depend on one person.
Yes, for
but
sure.
really look at the people around you, especially nearest to you.
Because people who sit near to you, right?
Yeah, exactly. I made it a point that when I joined the new job, I made it a point to know the people in front, beside, behind me, know their names. In the workplace, we often don't get to choose the people we work with.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, we cannot choose our colleagues. So along the way, we really need to be able to adapt and to learn to work with the different styles of people, because we cannot choose them, we cannot change them. One of the good ways is how do we blend in and how do we adapt together with them as much as possible. I also see this as a way of learning the uniqueness of each person in the workplace, and learning to build that relationship so that you can have more allies in the workplace.
True. Well, Amira, thank you so much for writing in. I appreciate this, and I know that a lot of people who are in a similar situation would also appreciate that you have written in and asked this question. If, like Amira, you have a work-related question, do write into us. We are at cnapodcasts@mediacorp.com.sg. We're also on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube.
I'm Gerald.
And I'm Tiffany. Here's wishing you a smooth work week ahead.